So I will get that to you. Gosh, it's been a couple months ago. I think it was in January. I was getting into the turn lane to by Sonic to come down Main Street, and this lady came. She was all the way over 4 lanes of traffic on the furthest north lane, turned and ran right into the front end of my car. Just turned. I mean, like, came across 2 lanes, like 2 lanes of solid white line traffic. Just hit me.
Hey, Brian.
And her insurance company was going to deny it, but they had video coverage from the tower cam, and so I sent that to them. Within an hour, they're like, we fully cover this.
They were going to shoot that on what basis?
There was not enough description or something or whatever. Like, she came across 2 lanes of traffic. And it was complicated because she didn't speak any English, and she spoke Mandarin, and so they had to call somebody in Dallas Police Department who had a translator, and come to find out she thought she was being chased by somebody with a gun because she passed me in the school zone. I pulled out right there by the fire station. She came around me by Dollar General. In the school, well, no, not, it was further up, in the school zone. And then in Dollar General, she was like weaving out of the, I don't think she had a great grasp on our driving laws. I had a legal license. So I've been waiting since January to get it fixed.
I believe it. I've seen more beat-up cars driving around just because of that.
Yeah, there's quite the delay. I was supposed to get my car back tomorrow, and it'll be the same next Friday. I have something. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's fine.
Okay. Let's go to the test drive. Are we ready to start? Okay. It's over there.
I see us, so we're good. Yeah.
So Brian Huckabee, Valerie Hill, Suzette Barta,
Here.
Autumn Folk.
Look at you. Yes, I am.
Yay, and Charlotte Parrott. Awesome, yay.
Okay. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Perkins Library Trust, April 7th, Thursday. It is 6:03. And we've established a quorum and taken roll. Okay, our first item on the agenda is consideration and action on the consent agenda. The approval of minutes of the special meeting held January 20th, 2022.
I'll move that we accept them.
Okay.
I'll second.
Madam Chair, you are approving the entire consent agenda, so all 4 of those items.
Okay, the entire consent agenda includes the approval of minutes of the special meeting, the minutes of the regular meeting from October 7th, the approval of the financial report, and the approval of the purchase order number 2201-068 for level 3 design. We have a motion from Charlotte to
Approve all of those?
approve all of those.
If you
Well, we'll look at the expense report.
Find it in the packet of paper.
So if you'd like to talk about the financial report separately, we have to have a motion to remove it, and then we have to do it separately. There is an item to discuss funding and trust budget number 7. So I don't know what Brian
Well, it says consideration and action. It was the only action to approve or not approve.
Well, because the financials are kind of what they are.
Okay.
About it on the.
I guess we don't talk about that then.
And again, you can absolutely talk about it, but you are gonna talk about your funding and how you can spend it later. So
Yeah,
right
we
now,
will
you're
look at
approving
another
what's
item.
been done.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we have a motion from Charlotte to approve. Is that for all of them, Charlotte?
I guess so.
And Autumn seconds. All in favor? Aye.
She
So
did,
we'll do the roll call, so this is where you'll call
Okay.
the roll again for that motion.
Okay, so we have Ryan Huckabee,
Aye.
right, and Valerie Hill,
Aye.
Suzette,
Aye.
Autumn? Yes. And Charlotte.
Okay. That's passed unanimously. We'll move on to item number 3. Consideration of items removed from the consent agenda. Okay, item number 4, public appearances, petitions, remonstrances, communications, and personal appearances. Anyone? Anyone? Item number 4, consideration, discussion, and possible action to acknowledge Library Director Jennifer Hudson as an ex officio member of the Perkins Library Trust.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm excited.
Do we need to make a motion for that? I'll make a motion that we accept Jennifer Hudson as the Perkins Library Trust ex officio member.
And second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Nobody else.
And Charlotte.
Did
And
you?
Suzette? Yes, and Autumn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay.
It sounds like you're leaving the ex officio. You're welcome to the Perkins Library Trust. Item number 6, consideration, discussion, and possible action to acknowledge Library Director Jennifer Hudson as Executive Secretary of the Perkins Library Trust. You're doing a fine job taking notes.
Move to approve as read.
So that's Suzette.
Okay.
A second?
And that is a second.
Okay, and then Brian?
Aye.
Okay.
And then everybody.
Oh, yeah, everybody, right. Okay, Valerie?
Yes.
Suzette?
Yes.
Autumn? Yes. Charlotte?
Yes.
And Jennifer? Yes.
Okay, item number 7, consideration and discussion on available funding and the library trust budget. So,
It's just the-
It's in their ways. Brian, do you have specific questions you want to start with, or do you want me to just talk a little bit?
Well, I thought we'd just kind of review so everybody understands remembers what we have truly available. Because I think from our discussion the other day, I was still under the impression that we had the capital improvement money sitting somewhere available, even if it didn't show up here, but you made it sound like that.
It's available, but it's still owned by the city commission.
Right,
So
so,
the city commission has to direct or approve how it's spent, and that's gonna be an agenda item on the city commission agenda, is for them to determine whether you want it used as project here, project there, do you want it set aside for matching grant funds, do you want it set aside for possible debt service, it's up to them to decide.
okay. Well, and I guess that rolls into another item on here talking about the grant that I guess, and I don't want to get stuff out of order here, but, you know, the matching money, I know on that grant is anything 5 months prior to the application deadline. You know, if Friends of Library has money, it's not our money yet, so if they hold that in reserve and send it to us at the appropriate time, that.
Yes,
could-
and that, I would feel, without being the grant expert, I would feel that that would qualify, because it's their money, they're not, even though they choose the Perkins Library as their, who they benefit,
Mhm.
they're not attached to the city. Therefore, if they make a donation, it is new money to the city,
Yeah.
even if
And
they've had it
after,
for 9 years.
yeah, after our talk the other day, that, it kind of dawned on me, when I was talking to the grant guys, like, well, heck, you know, we raised that money eons ago, but it's not our money.
That's
So,
right, that's
when you-
right.
When you mentioned capital improvement money, it's ours, but it's really, it's not in the trust
It's not like
yet.
the trust money, and so then we would need the city attorney maybe, or maybe even the grant writer would be able to give us some guidance on if the money
Determination
were to
on-
be transferred into the trust, which is an option for the city commission to do. Does that then make it new money? I don't know
Yeah,
that piece.
That one's probably gray. I
Yeah.
think the Friends money
Friends,
it would
definitely.
definitely make sense, so.
Mhm.
So I think that was my main big question. But I think, you know, if everybody kind of catch up. I mean, we had the 40,000 CARES money and 40,000 from Friends matching. So what she has penciled in here, the 29,825 is our remaining CARES money that's in our account, and Friends has that matching still available. And then we still have 20 that's hanging in gray space somewhere that, you know, we need to figure out what we want that earmark for, and send that up to the council and let them do their thing.
And that's already an agenda item, you said?
Yes, I put it as an agenda item so that y'all can talk about it next Tuesday.
Okay.
Because I know that there's projects that are being considered, so I wanted you all to, and you know, what somebody said 2 years ago may not be what everybody feels now. So I felt like it was a good idea for you all to discuss.
Absolutely.
Do we still have time on that agenda item to put a side note and say, here's what we plan to do with it, or, I mean, if we decide here today,
Yeah, if you decide here today,
is there time to,
I could still put that into the packet for consideration. I don't think the agenda item is broad enough
okay,
that it wouldn't, unless something costs over $10,000. Then we get into, now we're talking about the purchasing guidelines, and so then that has to be a separate item. So if you come up with something that's more than $10,000, we probably would need a separate agenda item after the first one. So they would decide how they want to spend it, and then the second one would be considered, and they could decide if that fit in with the parameters they've defined or not.
well, I guess when we get down to the grant portion here, we could briefly revisit and maybe give you some feedback on
That'd
that.
be great.
Okay.
Yeah, because everything will go out tomorrow to them.
And then I know Friends, well, I don't know exactly, but I know Friends probably has some more dollars in their account that, you know, at some point in time, we need to circle up with those guys and get,
1,000, pretty much.
I think so. I had I can pull that up real quick. Oh, do you have it?
This was January.
Okay, so
Well,
the
I think that-
50, the 53,000. And we just launched the No Dinner Dinner fundraiser, so we should be having more money coming in.
okay.
I know. Julie gave me the-
I don't know, that was after the report.
She sent me, find it. Anyways.
Well, I guess in terms of budget, that's still on that same line item. Available funding in our budget. You know, the budget, we started with way back when, kind of our phased approach. We kind of thought phase one would be about 97,150, and at the time, we thought we had about 100,000 to spend. Since then, we've done the masonry repair. We've issued a PO to the architect to help us with a little bit of work, and now we've got the storefront stuff coming up here shortly. We still have building demos, so I guess, you know, until we figure out if we're gonna award the glazing and talk about paving and some of those other things, it's hard to have a final discussion on where we land on this budget. But I can say, based on what I know about the pricing we have, that we're gonna be running fairly tight.
When was our initial cost estimate done?
Well, this was done before
No
the
cost.
current state of things.
Because it was done 30 days ago. It's
Yeah.
probably,
So, and we saved money, the selective building demolition, we had 14,230 penciled in there. You know, we got the metal building taken down for free. Now we're faced with parking lot demo that was cheaper months and months ago, or could have been cheaper. And in today's dollars, it cost a little bit more. So we're still gonna have some realized savings on that line item. Glazing, we're gonna spend a little bit more on. We have some, preliminary numbers here to talk about for exterior wall finishes, which if you just take some, quick math on these things, I'd say we're up, exterior finish system's probably gonna be 40,000 instead of 31,900. So we're a little over on that. Side utilities from talking with the plumber, I think we're gonna be under that. So there's a good chance that 97,000 will be 105,000 or something. But we haven't blown the budget real bad, but we're gonna be a little bit over that mark. So,
yeah, I think that's a realistic expectation right now. That whatever we thought something would cost, even guessing high, not very long ago, is
so with the CARES money and the matching funds, I mean, we've got, roughly 60 plus. If we decide to use that capital improvement money, we got 80. If windows are 40, exterior finishes are 40, we've kind of tapped out our available resources at that point, and we haven't done the side utilities yet. Not to say, like I said, they're having the no dinner, they probably have some other funding, so we'll probably have to be creative and come up with some extra money here to finish out what we call it phase one and get everything on the exterior of the building minus the parking lot. Will still be something on the back burner to finish demo on that and put that all together at the tail end. I think our thing right now is get windows in, exterior wall finishes, utilities, and then we can go to phase two and beyond. That's all interior work. So that's my
I like it.
thoughts on it.
But
okay. Any other discussion on the budget?
Just so we make sure we capture what you say, if you don't mind, just in case every bit of technology fails on us, you feel like prioritizing the windows, the glass, and the exterior of the building, and then parking lot demo would be third in priorities.
Well, the selective parking lot demo that we have quotes on now, that's basically just getting the sidewalk out and the concrete behind the building, that allows us to get new utilities brought in.
Makes sense.
So, and that's what, and we've kind of kicked it around previous meetings, kind of our ballpark phased budget. So we're still kind of working in that phase one category that's selective demolition, masonry repair, exterior finishes, storefront system, and site utilities.
Okay.
So that's,
So you're
Yeah.
getting like, the monies available right now might do everything but the site utilities.
yeah, that's kind of where we're,
Hopefully. Okay.
I think if we, depending on when we get there, I mean, Friends is usually very willing to help, so I think that's when we solicit our friends and say, hey, friends of the library, remember that money you raised? So. Are you an officer on Friends? Are you an officer on Friends? I can't remember.
Okay, we ready? Item number 8. Need to recall my Roman numeral. I don't use it very often. Consideration, discussion, and possible action to review quotes and select a vendor for the storefront glass at the new building site, subject to approval of an acceptable contract. So we have,
I should have sent these to you to print multiple copies, but I can pass these around. Okay.
how many bids do we have?
Three.
What are their, what are their lead times? Are they, do they
Like
vary?
4 months. Yeah. The short of it, until she gets back, is we've got, one of the numbers came in where I expected it probably would, recent price increases, because aluminum's gone up twice, glass has gone up twice. So the best number we have now is right around the 40, 41 mark. The other two are 69 and 72. And I got that first one and I didn't eat my lunch because I was kind of sick. And it wasn't until later, late in the day, like 5 minutes till due time, that I got the best number. So, and with that big a spread, it typically gives you pause that there's some reason for it. And I think there is some reason, but I still think all three bidders have everything covered. Our RFP is complete. Everybody's referencing the same information. So you guys can see.
What company is it?
What's that?
What company is it?
Well, there's Stillwater Commercial Glass, the company, and there's I think it's just called Commercial Glass and Materials out of Norman. And then also sent it to Benswanger and Glasscon. And Glasscon declined to bid because they thought it was too big of a job for them. They're a small outfit. And Benswanger just never got anything put together. So we have 3 out of the 5. That's why I sent it to 5.
I know that
You didn't answer my
glass
question.
has gone
Which one was the low
stupid
bid?
crazy.
Yes.
High and
Continuing with the meeting.
it's hard to get.
It's playing by the rules.
Well, I might wait until she gets back with the rest of it so she doesn't miss too much and everybody's got information in front of them.
You're doing good. Don't sweat it. Seriously, don't sweat it. It's okay. You're good.
Nobody
All
wants
good.
to read it.
It's all good. Oh, gracious. Is it May yet?
Practically.
The kitty's good today.
They were good today. Now, the last couple days have been wowzers.
Can you tell when the fronts come through?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been.
Or the moon is full. Marcia declares you can tell when the moon
Oh,
is
yeah,
full.
the-
It's a
and-
behavior.
Kills me when, like, it seems like here lately, it's always been like a full moon, the day a cold front comes in, the week before a holiday. Like, I feel like that's what 20.
After a holiday.
Yeah, I feel like that's
All
all.
the weeks in between.
I feel like that's this whole year can describe that right there. And it's finally getting warm, so they want to go outside, and then they're up late because they've been it's finally warm, so they can go do outside things, and it's like this every year. I
And
feel
then
like.
it's blowing so hard they get blown away.
Gosh.
It is.
Or
she
the
say?
playground duty.
Well, I got corneal abrasions
Hanging there.
because of the sand on the
You
playground.
asked him like,
Oh my goodness.
It's the microphone.
Really large.
Sorry, I should have sent those earlier tonight. Sidetracked.
Thank you.
Still warm.
You're welcome.
Rachel, I think the only thing you missed, I told them, I sent packet out to 5 different bidders and got 3 quotes.
Yes.
One thing I noticed when you were running through the copier, if something costs over $50,000, then we have to do competitive open bid, and it's a big thing.
Well,
All that stuff, so just FYI.
Well, luckily, one of these is not. Too, is that one of them came in where I expected it to. The other 2 kind of surprised me. So, you guys can flip through there. And after I got the first one, I requested that all do an alternate price to exclude the 3 windows up top. I thought if we're gonna be that crazy expensive, we don't really keep this off, we might just have to compromise. And so what if commercial glass values those 3 windows at $5,200? Actually, the commercial glass material didn't get back to me on that item.
I see the commercial glass material. Their cost does not include repair of interior surfaces. Have they seen the inside? Have they seen the interior? Thank goodness.
The best.
Yeah, that's the best.
And then Lee valued those 3 openings at $11,900.
Yes. I don't see.
So that's, I guess we have 2 options here, the full package or
Oh, here's one.
consider the alternative. Which I think this, the front elevation would be much better with all the openings full of glass. Do we need that much glass? I don't think so, but if we take the $5,200 deduct, then we still have 3 openings that still need some attention. So if we pay a mason to brick them in, that might be $2,000. So we might have saved $3,000 and then still not have a building that could look better if we left them alone. So,
I tend to wanna leave them alone, but that's a personal opinion, but
if he would have said,
swayed.
if he would have said they're worth $10,000, I'd say, let's brick them in and
Right.
save some money and save some energy costs down the road, but for 5,000, and like I said, that's not a true savings, we'd still have to address those openings with something. So it might be a $2,000 or $3,000 savings.
The Lee glass, if you did deduct the 3 windows, the 11,900, it brings it under 50. It's 48.
No, it's only, that's their initial total.
Oh.
That's their
Oh, I was
total
deducting
with
that
the-
from-
with the deduction.
Oh, that's their total with
I
it.
kind of thought they needed to be glass.
Scratch that.
I do too.
I do.
All 3 of these bidders visited the site. I met every one of them there. So they've all seen the inside, the outside. They all had the same information that I think I forwarded to all you guys.
I hate to ask, but what was Lee's quote back when we first started talking about this?
Well, that's back before we had any real specifications, and they were just
Guessing.
making something up. And a number of those openings are blocked down quite a ways. Our new RFP takes into account going brick to brick with everything, so we don't have little filler panels in to take away from the look.
I mean, there's nothing about these higher bids that make them better, that you can see. No, really not much question.
No, and feel free, I mean, it's not all my decision, but, I mean, you guys have this is the spec sheet I forwarded you guys. We can pass it around and take an hour to read through here, but I have 100% confidence that they're all 3.
Able to do it.
So the real question is, do we want to do the 3 windows or deduct the 3 windows?
That's the final question. Like I said,
I want to do the 3 windows.
what's that?
I want to do the 3 windows.
here's the front elevation, it's those top. This quote are worth $5,100. The whole entirety of it is 41, whatever.
I think it's worth $5,000 personally, but I could be swayed if someone feels different.
Well, like I said, it was a last minute knee-jerk thing on my part when I started seeing numbers come in and thought, crap, we're gonna have to
Find that
do
solution.
something, and that was the first compromise I came up with. Seeing the apparent value of it, it's not, I don't think it's worth that compromise.
I agree. Okay.
And you're not charging a sales tax.
And this is all bronze finish, includes, you know, demolition of the existing, cleaning the openings to make them ready to receive the new stored material.
And the door too.
It's clear glass, low E. After our code review with the architect, we figured out we don't have to have panic bars on the front. We can do thumb turns as long as they have visible means so you can glance at it and tell that it's locked or unlocked. And you still have to post a sign by the door stating that the doors are to remain unlocked during normal business hours. And we'll put, this RFP has a removable mullion between the doors. So the doors, a lot of times assemblies like this, you have a kind of a static door and an active door. The active door closes against the inactive. The inactive might have flush bolts top and bottom. And from experience, the flush bolts wear out and that door moves, and when this door closes, it doesn't really seal. An architect agrees that mulligan gives you a sturdy center point that both doors close against.
Yeah.
Makes it a more secure opening and more, you know, weather tight. You know, it, on some accounts, it may be a little less aesthetically pleasing. You're more of an architect. If it's done right and it's all the same finish,
Yeah.
it blends
it's not
in and
silver.
disappears.
If it's not silver in the middle of all your bronze glazing.
And being removable, that means you still have the advantage of the 6-foot opening.
Yeah.
So if
They're
you need to
moving
move
furniture
a
in.
piano in, you can take the
Yeah.
mullion out, open both doors.
But most of the time, you won't need to, and your doors will last longer, your hardware will last longer, and it is more secure, I agree.
And in the wintertime, you can pick, depending on the season, which is your active leaf. If you want to, in the wintertime, you can use the north door. In the summertime, use the south door, so the wind's not just catching the door and keeping it open all day.
I like it. So, I guess we're down to,
Let's see, what are we doing? We are, so I make a motion that we accept the proposal from Commercial Glass, right? Stillwater Commercial Glass?
Has everybody read and thought and pondered?
I think it looks good. The question is, I would like, well, I would like to accept the bid as it stands, the 41,000 with three openings being glass. I mean, is that what you're saying as well?
Well, in my, I'll just go on record stating my only reservation, spending a big chunk of money is that
Thomas is here.
that we keep the wheels spinning and push to get more grant money and get this thing done in the next year and a half or two. Because I hate to see us spend a chunk of money and put new windows in, and 5 years from now, we're still down here talking about how are we gonna finish this building.
Agreed.
And we only have 5 years left on the warranty.
Well, yeah. That too, so, you know, I think this is, it's a big decision. We've done a lot of things down there, made improvements. We've spent some money, but we've spent, I haven't been here since we spent this sum of money. So, you know, I think it's a, you know,
Well, like I said, I really truly feel like if we do something exterior wise, I think that will spark new interest, and I think I think that'll give us the boost that we need to get the rest of the money going, or find ways to find the rest of the money, or however we need to do it. That's my belief, but
Well, and that's why I've kind of gone along with it. Early on, I was the naysayer in the glass,
Back later.
but it does finish the exterior of the building and help with, you know, fundraising, community support, involvement, all the above, so. But like I said, we gotta keep things going so we can, you know, get this thing wrapped up.
absolutely. I concur. So Valerie, did you make a motion?
I did.
I'll second that motion, sorry. I wanted to clarify what your motion was.
Thank you. I need clarification.
A lot. Okay. We're ready? All right. Then Brian?
Aye.
All right, Valerie?
Aye.
Suzette?
Yes.
Autumn?
Yes, ma'am.
And Charlotte?
Yes.
And yes. Yes, sir.
That's exciting.
Okay, item number 9. Consideration, discussion, and possible action to review quotes and select a vendor for the parking lot demo at the new building site, subject to approval of an acceptable contract.
Well,
Let's see. So who do we have? Who do we have quoting us for the parking lot?
Did you give an actual bid quote?
yeah. But it's, I mean, the actual.
So I've got another one.
Yeah, get me to take it.
I've got so many files, I don't really recall if I actually printed that thing out. I know I've got it in my email.
That's okay, you can just tell, we'll just put it on the record.
Sorry, Rachel. I should have sent it with you earlier.
No big deal. I like it and stuff.
And what's the total on that one?
10,000.
This is the partial, just do enough parking demo to get the utilities in?
Yeah. It went up from, it actually went up from the whole thing.
Opening the gate and getting the staples out of the last one was the bump in the road.
This is for tear out and removal of asphalt, concrete, and stumps.
Yeah, it's
In our
basically
sidewalk?
everything in the phase 1 area that, I've got enough plans, I didn't bring all of them, but phase 1, it starts about 10 feet off the north wall of the building and goes from the front sidewalk to the alley, and then goes to the south property line, so everything,
Okay, so everything that was under this, that lean-to?
yeah, everything that was behind the building, the old metal building, all that stuff would come out. So
Does
that's,
this include the sidewalk and,
No, that's just the, where the metal building was at,
oh,
and the stumps.
yeah, that's sidewalk too, Autumn.
Oh, well, not the sidewalk all the way to the front though, right? It is? Okay, I misunderstood. Then
Yeah.
yes, Charlotte, I am wrong.
It's the sidewalk and a little bit of paving all along that north edge and down the west side.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Because after our last meeting, we sat around here talking about tearing the whole thing out, and then we kind of decided that, well, we don't have money to put it back anytime in the near future.
Right.
So we would have a huge parking lot that may just be a muddy mess for a long time. Be difficult for access and keeping silt fence up and barricades up, and
Just being
So-
an eyesore.
we decided to squeeze it down and just do the demo that we need right now, which that, we need to take the sidewalks out so we can deal with the exterior wall finishes. because the sidewalk is still higher than the floor inside. So we have to take it out and do things right. And we have to take everything out behind the building so we can get in sewer, water, gas if needed, and electric. So
So what was the other bid?
9,500.
Did they,
Can you tell me what company that was?
The name escapes me. What's here?
Did you find it when you were
Glasses
all
in.
staring at you?
I see that. Finally gone. Dirt Works, Sod and Landscape. And this quote's based on the exact same drawing that was provided to the other guy.
Are they out of Stillwater also?
I don't know if his address is Stillwater or Perkins. He's local.
Who's that bid with?
It's actually the gentleman who took down the metal building.
Oh,
His name's Evan. What was the name of that company again? Charlotte didn't catch it.
Dirtworks, sod, and landscaping.
And in the meantime, I've also talked to Tommy Roper, who actually met the lead company down here to look at doing the demo portion of the windows for the lead company. So I quizzed him about it, and he acted interested. And he's usually quick to try to do things for free or at a lower cost, and I've not gotten a final answer out of him as to whether it's something he's gonna try to do in his free time and work with us on, or if he's gonna come up with a lump sum number or do it for free.
he's been good to us before.
Yeah. So I hate to, as much as I wanna get this stuff tore out so we can get other things going, I hate to table this, but I hate to spend 9,500 if we could spend 2 or 3 and get the same thing done.
what is the timeline for the demo work? Like, are we,
I mean, it could be done tomorrow the sooner we get that done, the sooner, if we have monies available, we can get the plumber to go ahead and get the sewer and water in. We can start coordinating with OG&E to get electric to the building.
so do we need to, have that stuff ready lined up so that we demo and start the,
Yeah, and that's,
Putting stuff
most
in
of those things are on the current agenda too, so that's the plan, is to have most of this stuff ready to go. With anticipation, we'd get the demo done and we can just kind of,
Let me riddle you this, or riddle me this. If we went ahead and approved one of the 2 quotes that we currently have, is there a job in the future that maybe Tommy could help us with in the future? Do you see what, because I'm thinking like, well,
I hate to speak for him though, but
well,
I'm sure.
that's what I was asking as far as jobs. Like, is there something that we have lined up in the future that would be something in the future we could call him and get an idea about in order to approve a quote and get this other ball rolling? Do you see what I'm asking? I guess there's an opportunity to save money there. There's not a guarantee to save money there, but there's a guarantee to get the ball rolling here. I don't know, just a thought.
Well, for, I don't know the terminology to use, legality of this meeting, can we table this item and come back to it?
It's actually easier if you just take no action, because tabling it kind of sets a clock on how long until we can come back to it. But if we just take no action, and then somebody can say, we'd like to have that on our next agenda, or we need to call a special
Well,
meeting.
I'm just
or
saying
something.
later in this meeting, after we've
Oh,
gone,
yeah,
after
we
we've
can
gone
go
through
to-
other things,
yes.
this
Yes.
decision may be more clear.
The chair can move to another item of her choosing.
Okay.
We can pause, we can move to another item, we can talk about it, we can come back to this, absolutely.
Okay.
Can everybody find doing that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna put a pin in this one, come back. Move to item number 10. Consideration discussion on the building code review. From 3 level design.
Email that to everybody.
Very little sense in it.
Yeah.
Make very little sense to me.
So this is probably makes sense to Valerie, if she looks at stuff like this.
I'm glad somebody else did this.
But it might be gruesome to other people.
I would be other people.
Huh?
I would be other people too. No, I am too.
But it was still a necessary step. It's one of the 3 things that we all agreed to re-level design do on our behalf.
Yeah, this is the rules you want, somebody who knows the rules to tell you how to follow the rules. But it's stating, so you don't have to have a fire sprinkler because you're less than 12,000 square feet. You have less than 300 people, and,
And we're not multi-story,
we're
so
not multi-story. That's a big cost savings, which we weren't planning on sprinkling it anyway, but,
Too
we
good,
talked about that.
too good for books.
Corridor being followed, but you also have to have a door on the corridor that
where
would
we
be
had
tied
it-
to
where
the
we had
fire
it.
alarm system. So if we have a hold open on it, it'll have to be tied to the fire alarm. If it's got a standard closer, you don't need a fire alarm device on it. And then the panic devices, clear door widths, and then plumbing was another thing. We had one men's toilet and one women's. Based on the occupant load, he said we need to have 2 women's toilets. So it can still be 1 restroom, 1 sink, and have
2 stalls.
2 stalls. And so we kind of have a updated, I think I'd emailed that out with the past one. I think everybody's seen it.
oh, I missed the last meeting because I went to a school board meeting. Sorry.
Here's the updates, Charlotte.
Like I said, I was gonna send you some stuff and I haven't. So
Here and
this
here's
is,
the front
I'm
door,
still working on
right?
what's out there.
so the front door.
Yes, that's the front door.
Changes, so we're currently, we're showing this blocked in. There's an existing opening here. So we kind of.
Oh, wait, here, let's turn it this way so we can read it.
Students get back in this corner and out the ladies' room.
So this is the
I think maybe we had a janitor's closet.
staff room,
Between these 2
We
rooms.
also had to make the restrooms.
This was all.
Yeah.
So, and a big
story
room,
time
what happened
room,
to the
children's room.
Where did it go? Oh, it's still
There's the break room.
And like I said, you're in the driver's seat on all
Restroom.
this stuff now, so if you have, we obviously hadn't done anything in here yet. So if there's new ideas, we still have plenty of
Is
time.
that, there's a kitchen back there somewhere.
There's, well, there's a
All of
sink,
these, I don't have like a rough idea, we're going, do we need
like
to
sink
move?
and I think that
Please
maybe
know
a
if you still have that in a plan, that's great.
But
Okay.
you can hear him on that, and we can,
Is anybody else, I was just gonna make a copy, like 2 pages of this, does anybody else want one?
Charlotte does.
I can't really remember what we changed, but
This is the north wall.
we were utilizing.
So the north wall has nothing
That's a
on
big
it.
family.
Do you
Had
want
something on it before?
I don't think so, I think it was.
that's all right. I kind of remember. I mean, I drew on it a little bit, so I just, it's been a while.
That opening right there doesn't have any steel reinforcement above it. It's right at the corner of the building. And right now, I have a board propped under one side of the opening, holding some loose clay tile. So I feel safer just blocking, breaking that in properly.
I
I figured it might
That's
just.
back in some kind of structural state. That's an existing opening.
Okay, we had moved it, did we line it up previously? We just left it back or something.
Where's the chicken?
Early on, we did something weird there, but that door is actually there right now.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I think I know where that one is.
So you know.
Is that right here?
And we can still change it. This is kind of still in the works, but use that as a block that one. Shifted bathrooms, added a toilet in here.
Was this between toilets and then this was all the break room or something? I don't remember what was.
Yeah, the break room, I think all we did is flip that.
I think so.
So we
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
there's a travel
Put
distance.
each right there, but it's a lot of space, so.
Where it was down here, it didn't need travel, so.
Also a good reason to leave it. Yeah.
And then
Leave that, put each
has any
room.
businesses, and I keep
It says 102.
I can't remember. I think it used to be part of the closet space, and it got lost in some of our last
Oh,
shuffle.
but that means footage.
I told them we were gonna put a time capsule in there.
I was
Do you know what I
gonna look
mean?
at, I was gonna look at that level blue thing, that probably has the
So the,
This one?
Does anybody else want to take?
classrooms. But it doesn't tell you what by what.
I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Thank you, though.
Jennifer, I need to send a lot of this stuff to you. I mean, you can be the keeper of things and organize things.
And that piece is the main
You'll probably do better than I've done thus far, so. And then you'll have all the information we had too, and you get a rainy day and nobody's here, you can stand it up and pitch up and come up with new ideas.
I'm so excited.
reading.
So the code review itself is not sexy or exciting.
no,
We do have a slightly altered floor plan. And like I was telling Jennifer, now that she's in the driver's seat, if she has specific wants, needs, things, we can all discuss, entertain, make revisions to that interior layout. Not to besmudge Allison, but she's not here to tell us we're doing it wrong anymore. Or she doesn't like that, but. And I don't see that there's many things that we would change greatly, but it's a big space, so there are a lot of options in there. So,
yeah, I think it's,
There's always room and space for new ideas.
I think it looks good.
and the community room got slightly smaller based on the size we had it before. The occupant load that went along with that size required 2 exits separated by a certain distance. So by making it a tad bit smaller, we're within code now.
Now only 49 people can go there.
And he took a little liberty and put a closet in there too.
Is that for, so it says storage. Did we had mechanical there before, but that was before we had,
Well,
we're
now
feeding it all this way?
yeah, now we're planning on mechanical being basically attic space
Okay,
up here, a second level above the office area, so we can put furnaces and everything upstairs and not have furnaces scattered in closets throughout.
well, I could see that meeting room needing
Yeah, I
some,
mean, yeah, have chair storage, something, so.
It'd be a good idea.
That's something, on a rainy day, you can measure stacks of chairs and say that closet needs to be this much big.
or order some carts that you can stack them higher, or,
Yeah, so don't take our word for anything with the short story. We're still at a starting point on a few things. At least now we know exactly how big the bathrooms need to be and how big the community room, the limitation on here.
right.
The other spaces are still,
Well, now that we have this big room inside here, what, do we need the conference room? Do we need,
Well, I think the thought with the conference room was for like homeschoolers and tutoring. Because like right now, if genealogy is full in the summer, I have to just sit out in the main library, and I don't feel I mean, I don't mind it, but I don't know that it's the right atmosphere for the library. So I think that was the.
Well, we've had some kids come in to study, but then we've also had where they've had the supervised visitation, and so it's one of those where you have to tell the kids, like, and it's based on a first come, first served basis, so it's that, it would be nice to have more room.
I think that was the thought behind it.
Well, I think the one thing on the interior layout that I don't wrap my mind around too much is that, I mean, that big open room is nice, but it's massive, and I don't know how you utilize a space that large.
I think what you'll end up doing is making different areas with your stacks and your
Yes.
furniture.
Right, furniture and all that.
And as you get more funds or grants, then you can get, you know, some interesting reading spaces that are all kinds of fun connected stuff that we never have money in budgets to do all the way. I mean, it'll be, you have room. You won't be limited.
As I say, because if you think about the Stillwater Library, it's just one big, essentially warehouse with just the stacks arranged, so.
I guess I still have a hard time picturing a space that big with more than 3 people who can actually be quiet.
Well,
I guess in the day and age of cell phones, everybody's used to staring at something and not talking to the person next to them, so
We are putting in a ceiling. At what height?
well, the front 2 bays, like right when you walk in the front door, our current plan is those 2 bays will be open all the way up to the bottom of the roof deck. So you'll see one exposed truss there that we'll have to paint, clean up, and make presentable. But you'll have big, wide open, whatever you want to call it, atrium, something, and then beyond that second truss, the ceiling will be flat at 10 feet. 10 still,
12.
Can I just ask what that does for heating and cooling, being the person who, you know, gets the bills?
yeah, it's not a, it doesn't help. I mean, you have more volume to heat and cool,
And the heat rises.
yeah.
It'll be harder to heat
Yeah,
than
that's
it
my
will to
concern
cool.
about
but the units that we think we're gonna end up with should be able to carry that load without too much problems, and the efficiency on the units they have now. I mean, it will cost more, but I don't,
Well, and that's another item on here, our HVAC analysis, if we,
How tall is this ceiling? Is it 10?
yeah, that's
A little bit more.
a 9 or 10. I'd say it's about a 9. But anyhow, there's analysis we can do. I mean, if we do it right, we're gonna insulate the heck out of everything we can. So in the analysis phase, if we get numbers back and he says it's an extra 5 tons of AC to have high ceilings in those areas, we may have to start compromising.
yeah.
Or maybe we make our north wall dark.
Well, we already have if you take the south, almost half the building there, we have those 3 high windows I was talking about. We're gonna do the same thing there and leave that open. If you don't, then you're putting a ceiling below those 3 windows. So it kind of takes full effect of having those windows.
Right.
You know, it looks good inside and out, and adds a little bit of pizzazz, and then office areas, back of house, everything back there would be 8-foot lay-in, you know, cheap commercial ceiling system.
What's the ceiling out here? Most of it.
Right here,
Yeah.
this is like 9,
Out there.
probably an 8.
Where the stacks are. I was thinking it was even more than 8 or something.
10 foot's still a pretty good ceiling height. And I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, if I think it's higher than this, I'm really bad at this guessing thing.
I guess I'll go guess.
Did you bring your tape measure, Brian?
I have a digital.
That's 8
one
feet.
before.
So mine only goes to 6, yeah.
I don't know which point we made it to.
We were on 10.
Yeah, we're on the building code review.
Do we have to make motions to accept?
Well, there's not it's just consideration and discussion, there's nothing to
No action.
accept.
The ceiling in there is about 11.
I thought it was $1. That's good.
But remember, those stacks will be probably more over here too, so they won't be as,
So I think, I mean, one thing we could do is, I can email everybody this plan, you can print it at home, and everybody make notes, and then maybe send them back to Jennifer. Questions, concerns, ideas. We can have a stack of everybody's input, and then, you know, maybe sit down and go through it. I know we can't, 3 of us can't get together on a Saturday morning, but 2 of us can, and sit down and entertain those, reply to them, redraw some new ideas, send back to the crowd. So,
and now 2 of us includes Jennifer as well though, right?
No, because Jennifer's a member.
Okay, that's why I wanted clarification.
so ex officio doesn't get around that? Okay.
She's still a voting member.
Okay, so it's you, and if Jennifer's involved, it's you and one other person, right? Okay, that's,
Or we can always have a special meeting. It's not, you know, it's not a big deal to have a special meeting. 48 hours notice, we'll post it,
Okay.
and it can just be a chat session.
Okay.
I would like that if you emailed, I don't know if you already have emailed this, but I would like to see it and could even like lay it on top of the previous plans we've had to see what has changed.
Not that we're gonna take any action on it, but one thing that's been entertained is, and I mentioned to Bobby at 3 Level Design, further utilizing his services to help us basically finalize a plan set. We had a good starting point. We have a lot of the details and elevations, and he built that off the CAD file that I sent him that we worked on. So, you know, with the information he's got, I think it's very easy for him to kick out, you know, 6 or 8 pages, and we can say, here's a full architectural plan set. You know, we can send it, you know, for grants, donors, whoever, and they can see that we're final and official and we know what we're doing. So, and he has been really busy lately, so I'm still on him to give me some kind of guesstimate on, you know, what kind of budget we'd be looking at for that, which I don't think would be much, and because we have a PO with him now for $5,500, and he just guessed the other day. He hadn't sat down and gone through all his hours, but he doesn't think he's up to maybe $3,000 worth of cost so far for the code review and that, and helping with the window review and the start of the exterior finishes. So we still have plenty of room for him to finish up, you know, the finished package. So
5,000.
I think he's proven to be economical, and I've worked with him 20 years, so I trust him. I know he knows what he's doing. So I think that's something we can entertain in the future. Anybody else have any other thoughts on the exciting building code review?
learn something new every day.
I think it is good and lets us know that what we thought is, you know, currently in a state of what can legally be, how it can legally be laid out. I think that's, I hate to find that stuff out during construction.
Well, and along those notes, I mentioned to you too, I think at some point we'd still like, and I found your email the other day in my junk email, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
for some reason, everything goes junk. I have to like strangle Hotmail and say, this is not. But, you know, at some point, I think we'd still like the fire consultant's formal feedback, which we can send any of this new information to him if he needs to see what we've got. But I think, I know Bob's already had him review our early plans, which were 95% what we have now. We haven't changed since then. So,
Right.
but I think just for our own records and the file that he's going to start keeping on our behalf, so we can stay organized, that we have code review official documents, so by the time we get to the end, we know everything's kosher and everything.
So will that be fine after everybody has given their 2 cents worth and you've agreed on like the placement of the rooms and everything, then does that come next?
Well, and I think
Or they haven't?
even at this point in time, I mean, I don't know that we're gonna make any massive changes. I'd say if we look at it and we're like, we're gonna add 10 rooms and do a bunch of stuff, we'd have to reevaluate. We'd have to send it back up and say, does this significantly change any of your previous input on it? But I think we're at a point now, and I know there's cost involved there too, so I don't wanna, I don't know what that cost is, so I don't wanna arbitrarily send it and take somebody's time and then have changes, so
Yeah,
we may
yeah.
just have to discuss that.
If you want to send me the information that he would need, then I could maybe in the late next week, when we get through our city commission meeting, maybe I could just give a call and say, what does this cost?
Okay.
So would this be for, like, somebody looking at it, telling us, yes, the fire marshal would approve this? Because the fire marshal does not approve drawings.
Well, this guy, I think, he's one of those contracted out by the fire marshal.
If I understand it correctly, this is really Bob's area of expertise, and I'm sorry that I just don't do this.
No, that's fine.
But I know that we use this gentleman for commercial here in town, rather than
To be your
taking the
authority
liability
having
on our fire
jurisdiction.
chief, you know. So I know that, you know, like in the school,
Yeah.
when they built the new school, that this person, his company was the one that went and did all the fire inspections.
Okay.
And that's really kind of all the factual information I know.
Dealt with one or two of those guys in the past that are basically, I wouldn't say deputized, but they're recognized by the state fire marshal, because state fire marshal can't be everywhere and do everything.
Yeah.
So I think there's different outfits that are licensed, permitted, whatever, that their review is recognized by the state fire marshal's office, and I think that's
That would,
this guy.
yeah, in
So-
theory, I believe that is correct,
Okay.
but I don't know that for 100%.
Okay, so that concludes our discussion on the building code, and the next item, number 11, is consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding the recommendations from level 3 concerning the building code requirements for the new library building plan. So is this one, we're taking no action, so that,
No, this one is action, so if something has to be done, and forgive me because I'm not good at this, so if something needs to be done, you need to incorporate it, you need to say, yes, we agree with what he says, and that's not gonna be in the plan, then this would be the item where you would do that.
so if someone says, I want to remove the back door, it would be
And
against the code.
I can't think of any specific action to take other than
I mean,
say that I agree with them and think we,
So you might wanna move to accept, maybe that's,
I think so.
yeah, I move we accept three-level designs findings on code review and incorporate them in our building plans.
I'll have you know, designs findings, so you know exactly what you need, because it's in here.
Okay.
So, I just, yeah, so, move to accept three-level designs, code review, findings, and
Recommendations.
recommendations.
Incorporate them in.
Incorporate them into our plans.
Too many papers, yeah.
We could have considered that as two
$500.
agenda items, I
Yeah,
guess.
well,
Changes that might be made.
Sometimes it's good to just have a discussion where you can
This-
just kind of.
Yeah. All right, well, that,
We didn't hear a second, I'm sorry.
Autumn did.
Okay, Autumn second.
She's gotta go through the rules.
All right, and then Brian?
Aye.
Aye.
And Valerie? Suzette? Yes. Autumn?
Yes,
And Charlotte? And me, yes.
Okay, item number 12. Consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding the exterior finish recommendations from level 3 designs. It's all that in here.
Oh, that's the one that was on top. that was set to the side, it wasn't like on the packet. It was
It's kind of a price per square foot.
And there was a sketch with it too. You know, it's not,
No, you're right. I can print out real quick for just a second. All right, my copies, I'm so good at copies, maybe it's
Actually-
okay.
something. So he basically, he's talked to a few different contractors, EFS that we've kicked around many times, probably about $10 a square foot. And he used the footages we've got on our current CAD plans to come up with budget numbers.
Well, I think painting would be sufficient on the south, wouldn't it?
That, he came down and visited the building with me, and he had that idea, and I thought, man, I never even thought about that.
Would it be sufficient, because you got all those rooms there that'll be, give protection too. But what about the back?
Well, the back, I don't think would accept it. Half the back is concrete block that's in good shape. You could paint it. The other part has holes galore in the old clay tile that would take tons of patchwork before you could even paint it. So I think the back is still a candidate for something besides paint. The south wall, I mean, based on this, the savings on the south, you know, you'd save $11,500. What we would be risking there, obviously paint doesn't last forever. Elastomeric paint is about the best thing you could put on there. There'd still be a little bit of prep work involved with that, so it might not be a total $11,500 savings, might be a $10,000 savings. But when you put EFS on, you add another layer of insulation, and you get a vapor barrier out of the system. If we just put paint only on that wall, if there's any pinholes, any holes developed in the future, you get moisture through the wall, and then there's a chance it starts showing up on your new interior sheetrock. Not to say it would happen, it's just, it's a risk. The thing I do like about the paint, though, is the fact that the co-op little building's still there. And I guess Roper's been in the loop on tearing it down. He said something the other day about they were supposed to take it down in November. So we might look up tomorrow and it's gone, I don't know. But if it's still there when we're ready to address that south wall, if we paint that wall and then they tear the building down, it's easy to come in there and roll some paint on the new part of the wall that we have exposed. If we put EFS or some other more expensive finish and then they tear the building down, then we have a patch to do on our recent remodel.
Yeah.
What is that? What is the existing material on the south? Is it just the clay tiles?
It's that clay tile. But it's in good shape, and it hadn't been painted. That's, the north wall would be tougher to paint because it's got the old loose flaky paint on it. So we would have to sandblast and completely clean that wall before we could anticipate getting anything to stick to it properly. The south wall's in good enough shape to patch a few holes here and there and then paint it and be good. So my take on it would be to entertain painting that wall in anticipation that that little building does come down at some point in time. And then at some point in the future, especially prior to having to spend another $4,000 to repaint the wall, you know, 10 years down the road, earmark the repaint money to go along with another $5,000 and then put EFS on it to match the rest of the building. So you get a final, pretty finished.
On all the sides.
And with that building, with the building there right now, you know, if you drive from the south and glance over, going 25 miles an hour, if you blink twice, I mean, it's gone.
See
So
that wall.
if you slow way down and study, you know, you'll see a little bit more of it, but it's not a real visible feature of the building. At least while that little building's still out front. They take that building down and then it becomes a more prominent feature. And I don't know if the co-op, I don't know what plans they have. It might just have a big green tractor park there and, you know, problem solved. But
I'm almost scared for
And there's the little
building,
building too.
because I feel like it's partially maybe holding up part of
It'll
it.
be the domino
Yeah.
Who knows if they're tied together, footings, or
Yeah, they're gonna, it's,
the rumbling, gonna shift something?
have to be delicate, that's for sure.
That's the one they're talking about taking out.
We need to take out large insurance policy.
Co-op will be there, but the domino parlor will be gone.
That's on the street,
So
different.
painting the south wall makes sense, painting the west wall doesn't, in my opinion. And if you drive down the alley and take a peek, you'll understand why. There's holes this big in the old clay tile, so,
It's not very well secured.
no.
My son walked through it the other day.
And the, so the sketch you got look reasonable. And brick pilasters,
I don't even.
It's actual brick?
see 'em with the,
yeah.
I guess I don't even.
He actually got a mason to give him some numbers on doing the brickwork
Oh, wow.
to build those pilasters, so if we did that, it would be some extra work, possibly to put
Up so it doesn't look like
some extra concrete.
one span.
I don't know how far the existing footings extend out.
They're neat. I mean, they're just
Can
like
I ask
neat.
an uninformed question? Are we not doing anything to the east wall? Is that why it's not on here?
That's the one,
That's
It's
the
already
one that we
done.
Just the brickwork that we paid for to
That's the
fix.
brickwork that's already been done. Thank you, sorry.
No, you're good.
so this is his idea. I mean, we could do brick pilasters, ephes in between that goes, top to bottom, or we could put, a darker section on the bottom, a different colored section of ephes that they can even double up the styrofoam, put a trim piece so it looks like
Some depth to it.
detail work. And I talked to him about trying to do something that looks historically accurate. So his thought is, instead of putting scores in it, if you go look at a Walgreens or something that has ephes on it, they have V grooves all throughout to add some character, something. But I think I agree with him on this building. I think it looks better just to leave them flat panels with no scores.
I agree.
And then it looks more like just a big plaster section of wall instead of some
Paneled.
modern something with a clean, pretty groove.
Right.
You know. So this was a starting point. I kind of pushed him just to give me some budget numbers and a sketch, just something to go with it, so we could at least talk about it and give him some feedback on where we're kind of leading. And then, based on what I tell him, he can hit the ground running and put some more details to it and come up with some prettier drawings and some more accurate pricing and get us one step closer to being ready to do something on that.
I like that. I actually have EPIS color samples in my car. I have had for probably 9 months.
All I can say is I'm not picking the color, because I'm not a color person, and I've said it since the beginning, that's the single biggest decision on this building is this north wall, I think.
Well, it's not gonna be black. I hate that new school.
My first thought would be some kind
It
of
just tickled me, Charlotte. It just tickled me.
go with the brick colors, but that much red just, so I don't know what,
I don't know. I can't
I
remember.
think earth tones of some
I think
kind.
that's what I think that's what I brought, and I will just leave them here with you, and then you can take them down and show people, and maybe take a poll, but tell them their vote doesn't really matter. Let them feel like they say. Just get a feel for the colors. Look at it in different lights.
Well, does anybody have any other ideas, or does everybody think that this is a start in the right direction, at least?
Definitely.
Do you think this looks similar to what we had sketched up at the summer?
Again, that what he has sketched on here would be, you know, real brick columns that I think would tie the whole building together better, because right now we have brick on the front and then it disappears.
I think that's,
You know, we're not gonna match that brick exactly on the front, but if you go stand in front of the building, you can count at least 8 different brick varieties. That front's been patched and mended and changed so many times.
another reason to keep the 3 windows.
So,
The ones that are stacked up back there that are leaning, are they the same brick?
a lot of that's backup brick or clay tile block. So we would have to buy some brick, but these columns, luckily there's not a lot of material costs there. But we'd have to be selective and find something that tied with the front brick. And luckily, it's not gonna be right up next to the front brick. The first column's gonna be 15 feet away, so, you know. And then as part of this wall finish system too, we would have some extra costs too on top of the wall. Because when they put the new roofing on, they put flashing that's, you know, here's the clay tile, the new flashing, cap flashing is tied up against it. If we put ephes on, that cap has to come
The
out
wall's a little bit thicker.
to the face of the ephes and or brick columns now, so we would, you know.
So you just need new flashing though.
Yeah, so
That's not
we'd
a,
probably just leave that flashing in place,
and go over the top
or
of the
cut the front lip off, put the ephes on, and put a whole new flashing on, you know, the north and west walls.
Do we need to consider, is there anything about that that might take away the roof warranty? Like, does it need to,
It should, not if we leave the existing cap there and just put another one on.
I think that's,
So keep in mind, when you look at these budget numbers, there could be extra money for small concrete footings underneath these new brick columns, a little more money for cap flashing. So round up when you're doing math in your head.
but it also breaks up the, it breaks up the surface enough that nobody feels the need to put another mural on it. Building just looks nice by
I don't
itself.
know, her dad does murals.
Oh, really?
Dad does, mom does. I mean, I've done a little bit with like the butterfly stuff in Stillwater. Like I've helped. My first solo one got rejected because it looked too complicated, and they haven't had an artist complete one in time. It's like, I wish I had just said something like,
Yeah, you're willing to get it done.
The lady who did the mural was going to do some on canvas to put in our new library.
Oh, yeah?
So we'll have to ask
I saw
Allison
something
who,
like it's not going to be a big one. It got scaled down.
Yeah. Didn't we take a picture? I thought we took a picture of it and they were going to read.
I thought Allison took a picture of it, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, I thought there was something along the lines of Allison took a picture of that and they were going to put it on a canvas or something and have that at the library
That's right. I think that's right.
to memorialize that. Is that not right, Charlotte?
well, something like that. But I thought the lady was actually going to do some on canvas. You say she did?
No, I think that was brought up at some point. I can't remember where I read it, but there was something like that wasn't going, you know, she wasn't going to actually be painting something anymore, and I could be completely wrong. But I thought, yeah, there was going to be a smaller canvas being hung on one of the walls.
That's what I remember, but I've slept many moons since
Yes.
then too, so I could be wrong as well, but I thought we had taken a very graphic picture of the mural to be put on canvas to hang into the lobby of this new building, so that we didn't lose.
Right. But I could be wrong. Been wrong before.
I'll be wrong again at some point in my life, probably in the next 5 minutes.
I'll make sure you know when that happens.
Oh, Brian, I believe you.
Well, I like the work he's done so far, and I appreciate the numbers so we can kind of make an informed decision about what the exterior material is gonna be, and I like that I don't think we had thought about adding some brick.
Well, if you look, we've got 17,600 is just brick columns only. The 21,250 also includes a brick wainscot. So,
That kind of gives us some options if we're,
And I like the idea of having more brick there, but then again, if we match it very well to the front, then I think it could be
A neat option.
a good look.
I agree.
And it's definitely more durable than that ephes. If anybody's ever seen ephes that's 10 years old and somebody's been weed eating in a flower bed, it is a cement coating, so it's fairly durable, but at some point in time, it gives up if you keep beating on it.
Okay.
So if you take this 21,250, if you take that higher number plus 4,000 for paint on the south wall and 13,000 for ephes on the back wall, that's 38,250.
which number on the north did you take?
32,250 plus 41, 14,851.
So if we make a motion for this he will take this and take the information and make a more detailed plan. That's what we're,
Yeah, so we're just trying to kind of collect our thoughts on what we think the good ideas are and give him feedback. And
okay.
so based on what I'm hearing, then I'd say I'd give him feedback and tell him we like this idea. And I'd say at the tail end of his recommendation, we need something with color on it. And I want him to spend a week's worth of time doing a big 3D rendering job, but somehow we kind of need some colors to go with it, I think, to make a final decision.
Some of the EVIS companies, like the product companies, will have a visualizer on their website.
So Rachel, you need me to make a motion on this for Brian to take
I think,
action?
yeah, I think it'd probably be a good idea, and we could take Brian's statement, if you wanna say that you moved that, Brian, that do the 21,250, the 4,000, and the 13,000 options,
Right.
that you take those back to, Mr. Newman, and have him present. I hate to make your motion for you, I'm sorry.
Sounds good. Write all that down.
A more detailed,
Yeah.
Present a more detailed option, or
Yeah.
a detailed image? Ooh, image.
Yeah.
Give them permission to move forward on.
Yeah, I make a motion.
that motion.
All right, so you got the actual sentence for me, so Brian, we've moved that we take, and we're gonna put in the motion, the words.
Yeah.
But I've got them starred on
Yep.
here. That he will provide those to Mr. Newman at Three Level Design and ask him to proceed with, what do we say, providing
Detailed imagery.
more detailed imagery.
I second.
If you're gonna put red brick, it might make a little difference in the color you want to choose.
Yes. I think he's
That's
gonna,
why he wants to see it. That's why he wants to make a rendering so he can see the whatever materials all together.
I think that's what we're doing. right
Note
now.
Charlotte does not want black.
So that he can
Yeah.
draw a little bit and get.
Okay, item number 13.
Oh, wait, we didn't do the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, yes, okay. So Brian,
Yes.
Valerie?
Yes.
Suzette?
Yes.
Autumn?
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte?
Yes.
And me, yes.
Item number 13, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding the National Endowment of the Arts grant application deadline.
Second one. Close that out. Okay, so there's a little bit to this because, and I think somewhere we got lost in translation. It's not the NEA, it's the NEH, so instead of arts, humanities.
Okay,
All right, and
let's see that.
that one, so I put in, I only really heard about this one yesterday, since the switch, and I have looked through what they had on the actual website, but I can't get more information without starting the process. So that's what all this is. However, there's a page right in front of it that is a summary of all this info. I found that one buried in my email too. So, and I think this is the one that we were supposed to have a Zoom meeting on that got canceled with Bob. So I'm still,
Well, I was in one Zoom meeting with Bob and the grant writer. I'm pretty sure it was this one. That's where I got confused because I asked the guy if there's other grant opportunities, and he said he'd forward it to us. And then I opened it, and I think it was this exact same thing. So and I started reading it, getting excited there was something new, and I'm like, wait, this is what we just talked about.
And I did email him the question and
Okay.
didn't receive a response.
Okay.
there was something for the more, and now I'm not 100% sure where it's from, but there is the other paper that has grant scribe, and we can get to that when we hit that agenda, but
See, I think
That's
this,
the other
I think the
potential grants.
NEH is the one that I talked to the grant scribe guy about with Bob.
see, and
So-
if this is one I think about when we briefly touched on, I think you might know a little bit more than if you actually got to talk to him on Zoom.
Well, yeah, I think the short of it is, I think everybody on that call agreed that, you know, they've got 3 levels of award, up to 150,
Right.
and kind of decided that's probably the best for us, since it's, you know, the lesser amount, and it's a one-to-one,
Yeah, 1-to-1.
one-to-one match. And then the stipulation on that is from that deadline of May 17th.
Yes, there is.
So from May 17th, you turn the clock back 5 months, and you can count any money that you've raised in the previous 5 months and anything going forward toward your matching funds. That's why Rachel and I were talking about, you know, capital improvement money and friends money, and when and if we could count any of that for this grant.
Because of the matching.
And he explained too, I think it's arbitrarily like a 2-year window that this runs out. And you can ask for 150, but you're not penalized if you don't hit 150. So if we look up, you know, some point down the road and we don't hit that 150 mark, you're not penalized for it.
Right.
But, so with the matching thing, obviously they don't send you a check on day one, you start spending their money. You're spending yours and then they're sending it as you go, so. Like I said,
It's kind of nice that it starts in May and it's gonna count our fundraising time, right?
you know, so
We
we
started in what, January, February, March?
kind of talked about, you know, if we know anybody that's been
Still-
inclined to donate and wait until the time's right, if we decide to take advantage of something like this is when we call everybody we know and say, if you have money sitting on a shelf you're waiting to spend, if you do it now, then every dollar you give us, we get another dollar to go with it.
Right.
So, and I've had no involvement in any other grants, and I've told you basically everything I know about this one. So, I'm sure I'm sure Suzette or somebody in the room can probably speak more intelligently about.
Help handle small events. This is my first big one, so it's.
So matching money, free money sounds
Right.
good.
150,000 sounds like quite a bit.
Yeah.
So possible action, what would we be saying, yes, go for this one?
I think probably, maybe allowing Jennifer to investigate this further. It's a tight deadline,
Yeah.
a really tight deadline, and so I think Jennifer would want to investigate further and visit with Casey at Grant Scribe to find out just exactly how fast can they get it done. There is a fee for Grant Scribe for them to write an application, whether we get the grant or not, so. I know for
We asked
one
him, and
grant, what did he say, 1,000?
well, he said it wouldn't be much. He said, you know, a couple thousand.
Okay.
So it wasn't a firm quote.
Most people, not much. Well, define you, not much.
I make a motion that we allow Jennifer to investigate further and contact the grant scribe. And do we need to set a future date? Does she need any future action from us?
Well,
We say, if you can get it done, do it?
No, well,
I think we're probably gonna need some preliminary information to form a plan of attack.
yeah, I think if Casey can say, this is the exact information I need from you, if you get this to me by this deadline, I can put this together and get it submitted in time.
My question is, do we have to have the money in hand and tell them what we have ahead of time? I just don't know, because I don't know.
Well, I would think if they're going 5 months back, we would know what that is, but we hope to triple that in 5 months.
And I'll come up with a list of my own,
Can we count the city money?
shoot to you,
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
another question for Casey, is can that 20,000 from capital improvement be counted towards that with the blessing of the city commission next Tuesday?
Can the city commission make a donation?
The capital improvement funds.
We could- If the commission decides, and Rachel would have to help me here, but the commission could decide to give the $20,000 to the trust, is that correct?
Yes.
And let the if the commission approves the expenditure to be used as matching funds?
Yes, and it has to also then, and see, this is where you get into, you have to think about things 5 different ways if you work in government, because you have to make sure that it fulfills the legal requirements of the capital improvement sales tax.
Yeah.
But I mean, building to meet that fulfills it, but I'm just saying that's just another piece. So like, we couldn't use 2,000 of the 20,000 to pay grant people, because that would not be a capital
Gotcha.
improvement sales tax defined use.
That would have to come out of,
Someplace to be determined.
right,
well, another thing to think about here in the meantime too is the matching money from the Friends for the CARES part. I guess if we pursue that grant, I mean, if we spend that money in the next little bit here, any money from them
Is there CARES on here somewhere?
for that matching money.
it should, right? That's my understanding.
Charlotte,
Well,
that's,
if we go back in time,
that's on this page right here,
Not
down at the bottom.
terribly long ago.
It was March, wasn't it? No, it was earlier than that, wasn't it?
As long as it wasn't 5 months prior to May.
It shouldn't have been.
I
The
think
CARES
even,
money?
yeah, even the money we've spent on the masonry repair, money that came in, matching money from Friends.
See, that just has to, we have to ask about the application, like, is it cash in hand that hasn't been spent, is it cash that's already been spent, I don't know how
Yeah,
they're.
do we have to have it sitting in our bank?
And the Friends money does, or the Friends does have money if we present it to Friends of, hey, if you gift us this amount of money, then is that something we can use for the matching grants for the grant scribe to make it look, like, I think there's options, but I think we need Jennifer to get more information.
Well, and
And then we'll probably have to have a special meeting.
Casey did say that it doesn't have to be for the entirety of our whole project. And that's, we were bogged down earlier on with some grants that they want to see you start and finish the entire thing. And Casey said, grants such as this, you can define what your project is. So we can define our current project is the exterior of the building. And submit plans and say, here are the 4 walls of our building and here's what we're doing. And it doesn't have to include anything interior.
In that case, do we need to table it or do special?
I made a motion.
She made a motion.
Oh, good. Valerie made the motion to have you investigate, further.
Ask our pertinent questions.
If you can second.
Give me a second.
I'll second.
Casey said seconded.
The exterior isn't gonna come to 50,000.
Well,
Okay.
Well, I'd recommend Jennifer, you might just call him or email him tomorrow and say, what's our drop dead date to tell you to go? And then we know how long we have to ask questions and get answers and get him information he might need. Does that make sense?
Okay, item number 14, consideration.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're
We're all in agreement.
Okay, this is Brian,
Yes.
Valerie?
Yes.
Suzette?
Yes.
Autumn?
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte?
Yes.
And yes, okay.
Item number 14, I'm just trying to hurry through this second page. Consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding other grant opportunities.
I have no other ones yet. That's something, if you get Casey on the horn, you might pester him and say, what did you send my predecessor? Because he said he sent something to the last guy, and
You can find anything on his email, right?
I'm having a hard time. I think some things might be missing.
he acted like he did have some good leads on some other things that, would, be a good match for us, so. Because I told him, even if we get, this NEH grant, and that covered 300,000, I said, we need at least another 300. And so I said, help.
Easy.
So,
Item number,
did anybody else have anything? Agreements?
speak now. Item 15, consideration, discussion, and possible action to accept the proposal from Robert Thompson for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning analysis at a cost of $750.
It's in here somewhere, isn't it?
I have something on scope here, is that right?
Yes,
Okay,
that's it.
at the very end.
Let's go.
Last 2 pages.
Dated April 1st.
There it is.
So this proposal is based on him basically taking the CAD file that the architects already shared with him and running it through this set of analysis to figure out how many tons of heat and air load we have in the building and make a recommendation on the equipment to go along with that load.
So is this taking the place of a mechanical engineer?
Well, he is a mechanical engineer. This is just kind of a step one analysis so we figure out how big our electric load's gonna be.
Oh, I see. Service is not included. The,
So this is kind of a step one, so we can say you need, 30 tons worth of equipment. And I recommend you split that up in,
4
5
units or
units
5.
or 7 units or.
One of these plus 2 of these.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking for, so we get the total load, get the specs on, condensers, evaporators, and then run that up the ladder and get our electrical loads taken care of. So OG&E knows how big of a service to bring in, we know how big of a panel to set.
So would he have mechanical drawings? Or
This is no
This is just
design
a-
other than analysis and
Okay.
feedback, official informed feedback on what we need for mechanical systems.
When you know how many mechanical systems you need, then you can take it and get a rendering or a shop drawing or whatever of where your units are going and the runs off of them and things like that.
Well, and my hope would be, because this guy is competent and capable, that we get this feedback, and then when the time's right, we get the exterior done, the interior's defined, I call him back and say, okay, pick up where you left off last time, and now let's start placing equipment in the building and figuring out duct sizes and registers and return air locations, and then we can get those drawings out of him at that point in time. So this is just kind of a step one.
Yeah. It sounds reasonable to me.
And we've tried, Autumn's kicked the bushes, and I have too, trying to find somebody to give us this information for free. And we have people that are capable of doing so, but
They work for companies
Everybody's-
that make money.
everybody's so busy. And while I don't like throw money away, I mean, somebody like this, their recommendation in the file means a lot more than, you know, Bubba down the street that does some heat and air every now and then. So, you know, we have something we can hang our hat on and say we trust this guy's input, so. And we can't really do anything on electrical until we get that done. So it's kind of a precursor to,
You don't know how much electrical you'll need to
Yeah.
run the units that aren't there.
So you need a motion to accept the proposal from Robert Thompson for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. I can do that.
you can do that? Okay.
Like it.
I think you just did it.
I second.
All right.
Then Brian?
Yes.
Valerie? Yes. Suzette? Yes. Autumn?
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte? Yes. Me? Sure. Yes.
And Rachel, am I saying that right?
You are saying it perfectly. Thank you so much.
I always thought, I want to say Rachel, and I'm like, wait, there's an S there.
Yep. Rachel, that's official. Thank you.
Okay.
I tell everyone that.
It works.
It does.
So protocol here, I haven't been through too many purchase order things yet.
Right.
So on this, what's protocol there?
Well, I was,
Refresh my memory.
I'm glad you asked that, because I was thinking on some of the other things too. So by law, we can't open a purchase order if we don't have enough money to pay for it. So on the big ticket item, we are gonna need the donation, the matching funds from friends, so that we have enough money before I can legally open that purchase order. And they really are not supposed to start work until that purchase order is opened.
Okay.
So that's a piece of the pie. We've got you've got $750, so I can open a purchase order, the work can be done, but we can't write the check until you all approve that purchase order. So you approve the purchase, yes, but now we get into the purchasing laws, and that means you have to approve the purchase order as part of purchasing, and it's redundant on that.
Since half of the money is coming from Friends, would it just be easier if Friends wrote the remaining amount instead of, and I don't think it crossed our minds before, because the only thing we've helped separately pay for is the repair and the architect.
Yep.
But the remaining amount from,
It would be lovely.
it would just be
for us,
easier,
yes.
right, for Friends to write that remaining amount, which would then give us the amount that we need to cover the purchase order, right?
I
Am I-
believe so. I mean, I have to sit down and do numbers, but I feel
Okay.
like what you've approved so far tonight was, what was the first one?
41,000.
315 or something, plus was it 10?
No, we didn't
No,
approve
we
it.
didn't approve anything else.
Approved that.
The only
It was just that one
750.
And the 750, and that's it, right? So that's 52, so you would have plenty of funding to cover those two items if they could go ahead and donate, and that would just be nice,
Easier
easy
path.
bookkeeping.
So Jennifer,
So what are you saying then, that the city covers just what's in our budget now? And the vendor would get the remaining money directly from Friends?
no. Friends just will donate the money that was remaining from the CARES money that we said we would donate.
Okay, instead of holding on to it, just going ahead and,
Just giving it to the
That
trust.
whole 29,000 whatever dollars that's remaining in CARES, right? Friends would donate that matching entire amount.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cleaner.
So Jennifer, would you reach out to Jeannie Baxter then, who is the treasurer? Because that money's, that's already been approved. So my understanding is it's already been approved, so she could easily just write that check to the trust.
That'd be lovely, but it'd all be in this year's budget in terms of things that y'all don't care about, but that are so important to me. It's all in this year's budget, it's all nice and tidy, and I love it.
Okay.
All right, now, if we go ahead and spend this, we still use it as matching money?
Because it would have come in the last 5 months, my understanding.
As long as we hit the May 18th deadline,
Yeah.
because the next deadline is another 5 months out, and we screw ourselves on counting it for the next one.
If they'll count projects that are already in progress. I don't know the details of the grant, The grant may say that some grants say, you know, you can't do anything until you've got the money and then you do the project. Others say, yes, we count what you've already spent. I don't know what this grant, that's what Jennifer's gonna find out.
You okay?
I hope so, yeah. I think
It'll,
so.
we'll all get through this together,
I'll be on the
Jennifer.
board in case we make sure that everything in there.
Absolutely, well, we can call as many times as we want, we pay them.
Well, then the short of that then is to make sure nobody writes a check before, before we agree that it's kosher. Because we,
Don't write a check to pay for anybody until we.
and this is probably a gray area too, we don't have money in the account to cover the 41.
Right.
But we don't owe the 41 for 2 or 3 months.
But
They're-
they can't start work till we have money to pay them. Because I have to open a purchase order before they start work.
And you have to have that money
I have to have the money
in
ordered to
full,
open a purchase order.
not just a
Do you have a
promise.
credit card?
Because I was gonna say, I've got so many stacks, where's his quote? I've got so much stuff.
Okay, here's a question, so,
Yeah, that one.
could,
What are the terms?
I was gonna say, could the improvement, the cost of the windows, if the commission approved it, could the $20,000 that's in the capital improvement, could it be applied to the cost of the windows? If we make that in an agenda item for Tuesday's meeting, for the commission to decide if they could?
Well, I have the agenda item for them
Right.
to decide.
And then,
So if you all want to ask that as your next specific item, you know, after they've decided how they want to earmark it,
mhm,
then we can make it the next agenda item.
to approve,
But then you've only got 20,000 towards windows, because then you don't have the CARES Act money, because it's not matching.
okay,
He's the only one that actually
can
turned
you
it.
not pay partial, like 20 from the capital improvement and then pay the remainder with the money that's in the library trust?
The CARES Act fund?
CARES Fact and/or
There
the,
isn't enough other library trust funds. The bulk of the money right now are the CARES Act funds, and the commission decided that those were to be used as matching. So I don't know if the commission wants to count capital improvement money as matching funds.
well,
Does it matter that the
Yeah, I
windows won't
see.
be in for 4 months?
well,
Well, what she's saying,
hold on, I'm,
the 29,000 that we have sitting there is still CARES money, and she's saying that we already plan on Friends money matching, and we can't really use capital improvements money to match CARES.
right, I'm not asking it to, but
Okay.
what I'm asking is the $20,000 pay for half of the window cost, and the remaining 20,000 that was needed, 10,000 is capital, or 10,000 is,
Here, I got you, I'm with you.
10,000 is CARES and 10,000 is Friends of the Library.
I got you.
That way, then that gives us more flexibility in the number that we have as the trust, the amount of money we have in our account as a trust. Does that make?
And then technically, we would have, and again, this is state law, this isn't racial mix-up rules, because
Mhm.
I would like to not have quite as many rules. But then technically, if the city commission approves that 20,000 would go towards the glass project, so it gets transferred in, now you're sitting with $49,000, then we have enough money that we can
Right.
open the PO and get
Right.
it moving, even though we may not have the other half in yet, because there are enough funds. I have to sign off that says, yes, there are enough funds
Funds.
available to do this project.
So you wouldn't need any Friends money right now?
Potentially,
Not right this
if the commission approved that transaction.
Then we could at least delay the Friends money till after May 18th,
Right.
in the event that we decided not to pursue this first grant deadline.
Right.
We'd still have that matching money sitting there available to go on to the next one, maybe.
Still coming.
Yes.
I like that idea, so
But
is,
the other
Mental
matching
gymnastics
half
to
would-
get there, but
But the other matching half would really need to come in prior to June 30th because of the whole city commission wants the CARES Act to be matching funds.
I
So
gotcha.
at least that 10, whatever it is,
Yeah.
would need to come in.
I think that could, I mean, it could happen at any time.
Yeah,
It's sitting there.
yeah.
Well, it's my hope that Casey says if you give me everything I need by May 1st, I can get this grant out for you, then we have time to jump through a few hoops and get him some stuff and, you know, I guess have a special meeting prior to May 1st so we can all sit around and say, yes, we approve paying Grant Scribe $2,000 to get this for us or whatever.
So, if that's the situation, Rachel, can you add?
Would you email it to me so that it's officially coming from you?
Absolutely.
Just because, you know, now Tammy has said that's the way we need to do things.
Yes.
Well, email, then
Let
yes.
me write myself a post-it note.
Yes.
I forgot that.
Sorry.
Do I need to CC Tammy into that email as well?
Yeah, why don't you,
Okay.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Are we on to item 16?
So we started that discussion with figuring out how to get $750 paid for.
That we had already approved.
Sorry, I know there was meant to have been artistics involved in there, but I'm trying to make it.
We did on 15, that's all.
We closed 15.
Yes, we did. We voted and approved.
So Rachel, on the 750, then I can go ahead and contact Robert Thompson and say, it's approved, you can do your thing.
Yes.
Before we write him a check, we have to meet again.
We'll have to meet again to approve the purchase order.
Yeah.
I know, welcome to my life.
Well, and
It'll be a quick thing though.
It'll be so fast.
It's almost not even worth making it up here. You're like, yeah, and then you leave.
Do that on a number of occasions, because a lot of these guys aren't gonna sit around 3 months and wait on a check, so.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, item 16, consideration, discussion, possible action regarding the coordination with OG&E engineer to perform load calculations after HVAC analysis, and further action, including installation.
Well, the theme of that agenda item is just so we can revisit it real quick. You know, I was anticipating that we would approve the item previous to that, which we just did, so that when the day comes, everybody's on the same page with me, taking that information and send it to the powers that be and try to get our electrical system designed and get the ball rolling with OG&E to get our new system installed if we get paving out of the way first. So, I don't know that there's,
It sounds like a spreadsheet. It sounds like an Excel, if this, then this.
yeah, there's a few moving pieces, so I don't know that there's a lot of action there. It was just to bring it up. I mean,
It's good to have it in the notes that we have thought about necessary future coordination.
and again, that's,
He has our permission to get with OG&E after he gets this information.
well, and that was Jimmy Johnson.
Jesse.
Jesse, what did I say? Not a NASCAR guy. Jesse has been real helpful. He's met me down there twice. He got their bucket truck out to get the power line off the top of that metal building before we took it down. And then, and I probably told you all this before, but he said that the new service, underground service to the building would be installed at no cost to us. And then he's got an engineer that works out of their Enid office who he said would volunteer his time to do the engineering portion of that.
Wow.
So he'd size our load and then we'll have an interior panel to set. And then I'm hoping that he might have resources too to help us find some cheap or free, lightly used, equipment to put in there.
And we have a community liaison too, which I didn't think of until just now. Her name is Kimberly Adams.
Okay?
And
Oh, that's
she's
right.
all about trying to help
That's all
our
right.
communities. She works at OG&E. She's terrific.
Okay.
So when you get to that point, she's Kimberly, like L-E-E, Adams.
She and Jesse are friends.
Okay.
And she might have some ideas too.
We have the same birthday.
Do I need to make a motion to give Brian permission to
Well, I
coordinate?
think Charlotte kind of did, maybe.
Charlotte did.
Yeah.
I second Charlotte's motion.
Dawn,
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte,
Yes.
and yes.
17. Item 17, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding a workday, April 9th, to remove the remaining trash and exterior wall. What about the exterior wall?
It's got like a bunch of metal
Oh, the,
bits.
just clean up,
hanging off the side.
general cleanup?
Well, there's still that little billboard thing on the north wall too that
Oh.
kind of disappears if you're not looking for it. But if you go down there looking, studying the exterior walls, there's a day's worth of work with hammers and drills and pulling stuff off that's not supposed to be there. And after I brought that up, I can still, I guess my plan, there's still trash behind the building. Even if we don't spend a day getting stuff off the exterior walls, there's some large stuff behind the building that needs hauled off. And I was gonna try to take advantage of the city dumpsters. They're gonna be down there for the citywide trash off thing. So
That's this Saturday, right?
It is this one.
Yeah.
That is good, that way we don't have to pay for another dumpster.
there's not enough to fill a dumpster on its own, so I didn't wanna
Yeah.
get one just for the little bit that's left. And so I'm able and willing Saturday morning to go down there and load some stuff. But
I can help, I'm before 9 and after 1, just because I'm gonna be here.
literally, it's not a big deal. The one thing I'm lacking is a trailer, if anybody's got access.
Mine got stolen. Remember? Yeah, out of my yard. Gosh, sorry, I'm only a little bit.
My father-in-law's got one I'd probably grab. So it's really, I mean, honestly, it's, getting the trash out is probably 20 minutes worth of work, so it's not worth everybody getting up early and getting your gloves on, because by the time everybody gets out of their vehicle, it's probably all loaded.
Well, if you'd like to go to the dance competition and get Janie ready, then I would be happy to load trash.
I'd rather dig a hole all day.
Well, then I'm not gonna be of much help on Saturday.
Right, if you don't come up short on a trailer, let me know tomorrow, because I know fire department has a trailer,
Okay.
so maybe we can dig up somebody if you.
Okay. I think I can get one, and I've got 2 boys that love it when I volunteer them to help me do things, so.
Do we need to make a motion to approve? Yeah, I mean, is there anything formal, or do we need to add to that we put out any requests on Facebook or anything for?
No, like I said, I think the trash portion's the main thing to take advantage of the free dumpsters, I
Yeah.
think. And I've got a wedding shower that I gotta leave at noon for Saturday, so I can't stick around. But I'm open to the discussion of picking another nice sunny day to meet down there and spend half a day and put some more finishing touches on some stuff. So I'd say
We can get the trash, be best.
if we just look
Be
ahead.
careful if there's more than 2 of you there, it's a meeting.
Are you kidding?
To work?
Yes,
Oh, mercy, mercy.
State law, not racial
You make
law.
it becomes a quorum.
It does.
Oh, gosh.
Is there like a separation distance if we happen to all be at Chili's at the same time? Or?
Yes.
Talk over the back of her.
Yeah, I mean, like, all of you couldn't
Can't
be-
talk to each other.
Good thing I don't like any of you.
Charlotte.
On record.
Charlotte.
I make a motion that Brian goes and gets the trash and takes it. With anybody not affiliated with the Library Trust.
And we thank him very much.
Very much, very nice.
Do all you can do, that's all we ask.
Oh, jeez.
Well, we still, keep in mind another work time. I guess maybe we do it in shifts. We take 2-hour shifts, so there's only 2 of us there at a time.
Okay.
I guess if we're ever gonna have a really big work day and we actually have to all be there, we can have a special meeting and we all renounce our position.
Well, can we have
We can go
it?
have a work
Can
day.
we have a?
I think you can have it, I mean, you could, for real, if you wanted to have a work day, we could have a special meeting that was a work day and post it, just like we, but it's
Yeah.
held there instead of here.
Okay.
And then y'all could do your thing, and there wouldn't be any action, and she'd have to produce minutes, But we could do it that way. We could
Okay.
totally do it that way.
You could do a retreats and stuff too, but you just do them the same way.
Okay.
Brian hauled off half a dumpster of trash. That's the minutes.
It's winter.
I can do that. Do you have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. On thinking. On letting them work at thinking. And that, to have, for Brian to pick up trash and they can, and we can get.
You know what my vote's gonna be?
I think you're gonna get outvoted, Brian.
Yeah.
You should vote no. You should vote no for the record,
We're gonna
Brian.
start with Valerie.
Hi.
Suzanne.
Yes.
Autumn.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes. And Brian. And Brian.
You can put down yes, it doesn't matter.
Excellent.
Well, I did try to trade you places.
That's not a fair trade.
Okay, 18, consideration, discussion, and possible action to discuss upcoming projects such as the masonry work on the southwest door and plumbing work and the process for approving these projects.
So masonry work, I think I pointed out to a few of you on the plan, a recent change is taking into account blocking in that big door opening at the southwest corner. So we need a competent mason. Need to hire somebody to come block or break that in. And I don't foresee that being a big cost item. And I guess we might have to revisit our discussion from the other day on what, if we have to have multiple quotes on that, or if it's a negotiated.
It's good, if it's, you know, over $1,000 or $2,000, it's good to have more than one quote.
Good.
But now we're talking about purchasing laws again, so, you know, we're on that hat now. With the city manager actually has purchasing abilities up to $10,000. So if you all want to say, yes, we trust Brian to do his thing, and Bob can approve this, and just go make it happen, and we don't need to talk about it anymore, that is up to you all to decide. If you want to hear what Brian comes back with, and you want to be a part of that discussion, then that's perfectly, it's really up to the trust how they want to spend their money.
Well, and the theme for putting this item on here is not to give me autonomy by any stretch. It's to basically pre-approve. Everybody raise their hand and say, we agree, we need to break this door in. And optimistically, I'd like to think I could get somebody to do it for less than $1,000. It might be 1,400, I don't know yet. But if we all say, you know, we approve up to X amount, if Brian can get a quote for that and Bob approves it, then we as a board don't need to have a special meeting to approve that
And
single.
then you have to make a place for another door.
There's already another door.
Now, there's the big door.
Yeah. There's another door hiding there. Nobody really knows it's there.
Oh. That one's really there?
Yeah.
Oh,
It went from
okay.
the old bathroom to the old smokehouse.
And this one's already there.
Yes.
I'm fine with pre-approving.
I would say,
I like that idea.
I don't need a special meeting. Anyone need a special meeting?
I would say up to 2,000, just to,
And the plumbing work, I was being optimistic here. I mean, there's still with budget constraints and parking lot demo constraints, and I'm not doing that next week, but I can get a mason going fairly soon, so.
I trust Bob and Brian to do this.
I make a motion to pre-approve Brian to work with the city manager and his purchasing power to take care of these little,
upcoming projects.
this item on these upcoming projects up to $2,000 to wherever it's gonna require us getting bids or
Quotes,
quotes.
$2,000 per project.
Well,
Well, I think it's really just the door we're talking about now, because
Yeah.
the plumbing's gonna be up there approaching 10,000,
Oh, okay.
and
you want us to do a blanket statement similar to that for plumbing though? But we can't really move forward with plumbing because we never took any action on concrete, correct?
Yeah, it would still need to double back there. But if
Oh,
it's
we
gonna
did.
be upwards of
We
10,
did.
then it would
We
have to
did
come back before
windows.
this body if it's 10,000.
We did windows and the
Plumber who said it would be.
we didn't take any action yet on the concrete.
Prior to PVC prices.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm afraid that.
Well, we're gonna have to come back together to approve purchases and going through, so that we can pay people. And
Okay.
talk about the grant,
I'll never get these things sorted out.
so maybe.
So I think we're good then.
Plumbing on hold,
Yeah.
just to do the brick door.
I think so. Is that what you think, Brian? Okay. Well, then I'll second.
All right, then Brian?
Yep.
Valerie? Yes. Suzette?
Yes.
Autumn?
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte?
Yes.
So we're gonna double back to that parking lot deal now, so we just are grateful for
This
this.
one, we had a pen in number 9.
That, but we did,
Yes,
We didn't make any
It is.
action on it.
Well, on our, I guess,
Yeah.
back to item number 9 then. Is why I wanted to fall back on that. Talk about our available funds
Right.
in our budget. Take into account the 14,851 we spent on masonry. We just approved 41,598 for windows. We approve up to 5,500 for architectural services. And we're looking at about 38,250 for exterior wall finishes. If prices don't move a whole lot from what three-level design has laid out thus far. You add all that up and you're sitting right about 100 grand. But you can back out the 14,851 we've already spent. That's already out of our coffers, so. We have 29 in there now. I mean, we're already talking about having to round up dollars to cover the window portion. And the paving's another 10. I guess with funding in mind, my take on it right now is try to find a more economical method of getting the demo done. Instead of jumping at $9,500, you know, if Mr. Roper is able and willing to help us, I'll go down and swing a sledgehammer until I pass out, but.
Yeah, I don't
Won't
know
take
if
long.
Joel will take it, but
But
now that we've done these other things, I agree.
So do we want to take no action on that one or pre-approve a lower bid of anything less than?
Well, I think
something?
if we're gonna have a special meeting here in the near future, maybe it's something we can
The pot, yeah,
hold these two quotes.
No action,
No
we could
action.
put it on
yeah.
once we figure out the parameters of the grant, because
Yeah.
maybe it can be wrapped in the grant.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
Okay.
Okay, I like it.
because right now, I guess to finalize that, our funding then, there's 29 and maybe.
Right. Correct.
And 29,825.
So then from item 9 to 10.
With Friends matching money, that's 59,650. And if we get the 20 out of the city, that's 79,650. So I think it'd be wise to get some more money sitting in our account before we try to spend it.
I agree.
We've already started the window thing.
I agree.
I still think, but ultimately, we have to spend money on the demo, regardless of what it is, before we do anything on the exterior walls.
Yeah, that's the next step then, right?
So we're not gonna spend that even, 38,000, even if we had it, we wouldn't spend it today, because we gotta get concrete out of the way.
Right.
So hopefully we get answers on the grant and some things shake out in the next 2 weeks.
So you think we shouldn't encourage people to give until we find out if this is gonna go, this matching is gonna go through?
We give the Friends of the Library any time, right?
They can give to the Friends of the Library anytime, and the Friends of the Library could then give to the trust at any time within that period between now and June, anytime that you want the CARES money, or no, the matching funds to come over
That would be
by
lovely.
June.
That would be really nice.
So anybody wanting to donate, send it straight to Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Friends can then turn around and donate it at an opportune time.
Right.
Okay.
But I was thinking about the matching thing to match this. If we don't get in on the first one and the next one is when?
September.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's why we're saying you can give to Friends, and then the Friends will give it to the trust, and that's what they'll look at for the grant, is give it to the trust. Does that make sense, Charlotte?
Because
Friends
Friends,
is gonna hold on to it.
yeah, because Friends isn't the city, so it's an entity giving to the city, so I would think that would count for the grant purposes. But Jennifer's gonna find out for absolute positive sure, so that we're all on the same page.
And my take on it is, if Casey says he's still confident we can get it and his fee is minimal, and we can get everything together in time, I'd like to chase that one. We've talked grants for quite a while. I mean, if this one we can phase and say it's for the exterior of the building only, and we want 115,000. Casey thinks we can get it, and I think we ought to chase it if we can, so
Yeah.
that's my take on it. I don't know if 115 is the right number. I'd like to ask for 150 in hopes that we actually raise 150, but I hate to ask for 150 and then we only raise 70. And then we look silly for asking for 150.
Nah, you never look silly. You just have pipe dreams.
We need to see how
Colored glasses.
much money is readily available that could be matched, and how many people have money that they've been waiting to donate, that they'll raise their hand and say, we'll throw that in if that gets you there. And then we already know, heck, we've got 60,000 already that would count as matching. And
Right.
so
Sounds good.
I think if we got the 150,000 and said we need to match it, that we'd get more money faster. If they knew that it was being matched.
yeah, I think it would. I think if we had physical movement at the building and an active grant that we've, succeeded,
Yeah.
and we publicized, Friends can publicize, say, hey, we've got 32,000 sitting here, that's actually worth 64, who's gonna help?
Right. And I think that's where the windows come in, though. Like, we're doing stuff. We're moving. Come help us. In my opinion, could be completely wrong.
We finished number 9, and
So especially if they thought it was gonna be matched.
Yeah.
We determined not to take any action.
No
on
action.
Number 9.
No action.
Number 19, consider action, discussion, and possible consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding library signage.
So, I am not an artist, but I did reach out to 3 different companies, one out of Cushing, one out of Stillwater, and one out of Ponca. And 2 of them said we do not do design. If you give us a design, we will make your sign and install it. The only one who actually gave me anything to go off of was the one out of Cushing. This is their preliminary mock-up of what they would like, or what they were thinking the signs above the windows would look like. And I got that at 4 o'clock today, and he sent me a message that he would be in the office tomorrow to talk about like possible materials and
And is that black part, is that a solid aluminum backing?
I think it's metal with bronze lettering, yeah. But that's the only company that would design something, so I didn't know if you knew somebody.
I have several projects with Walker companies right now.
Would you wanna reach out to them then?
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about this world, I just started Googling sign companies and sending.
Yeah, and their websites are not necessarily.
No, they're not helpful.
Very, yeah, and they can do 10 times more things than is on their
But
website.
I'm also not an artist, so when he asked me what colors and stuff, I was like, I'm pretty sure we're doing bronze for the windows, so bronze for the sign?
But I think that design, something similar to that's what we need. I think a solid backing, because right now it's just that old half-painted plaster material. I think if you just put lettering up there, then you every so often gotta go up there and paint around it. So if we have a solid backing that has a durable finish on it, that covers all the crud, brick to brick, then you can screw it to the wall and walk away, and it's good for 30 years.
Right. What do you think of it, Charlotte? I mean, it's pretty simple, but it's,
Do
It
we want
says what it-
lighted, do we want it lighted, or do we just want a plain old?
Well, I think the front elevation, I drew in a couple little lights hanging down over the front, so, you know, it's something where you can,
Lighted from the outside, not from the,
some old-timey looking, I don't know what you
directional
call them.
lights, so.
Gooseneck?
But yeah, Valerie, if you wanna reach out to the people you know, cause that's as far as I've gotten. The other people are like, yeah, we don't do that, so I don't.
Design, it's the letters. What would your?
I didn't think,
know.
I would have thought the people who,
Well,
I learned
Marker
something new.
felt.
I learned something new.
What about the high school art class?
Like to create a design. I mean, I can always reach out to them.
not OSU architect.
Well, if, that's a possibility, but it's a matter of how quickly you want something to turn around too. Ms. Nichols.
That's probably contest
Well, if
prize.
that guy calls you back and at least gives you like a ballpark price, then we kinda know,
You know,
kind of range we're looking at.
Okay.
is our scientific name Thomas Wilhite Memorial Library?
Not anymore.
What action needs to be taken to make it Perkins Public Library?
That's
Perkins-
not on the agenda, so we can't really talk about it. However, we can put it on the next agenda, and I don't know the answer anyway. So, but we could put that on the next agenda and do some research.
Because I
I
think it
don't know the answer.
really needs to be official, I mean.
I thought we had discussed that at a previous meeting.
Seems like we've discussed it, but I
I
can't
was
remember.
absent for one meeting, so I don't know.
I will reach out to Mrs. Nichols and I will keep the ball rolling. The person that did this was the Cushing Company.
Okay.
I'll keep the ball rolling with him and talk to him some more tomorrow, and I will reach out to him. I think it's still Mrs. Nichols.
So what is the material behind that the sign is going on? Like
I'm saying, I think it's aluminum.
plaster? I mean,
No,
that's-
behind where this.
Plaster, yeah.
And so we do need solid backing? Because what am I gonna ask Walker for?
Yeah, that's my take, and I can forward you the,
27.
Who's second?
Suzette.
Suzette, awesome. All right, Brian? All right, Valerie? Suzette? Autumn?
Somebody in mind?
Yes, ma'am.
Charlotte?
You must.
All right, and yes.
You must team up.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Yes.
Thank you. And you need me to sign something?
Oh, yes.
Rachel, I'll get that email to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, I can't guarantee the wording will be.
That doesn't make any difference. We'll fix the wording if need be.
I'm sure it will be
Let's
fixed.
stop this.
Not a doubt.
Stop this.
Sign minutes, does she?
Yes, she signs minutes. As the chair, she.
Or not minutes, agenda.
Okay, I just hit the red button.
Minutes, not agenda.
Just remember, you are not doing it alone, okay?
Appreciate it.
There are two.
Wait till your legs get old.
Like 2 days ago, and then I got your email.
Because it's just, it's the term expired.
Last weekend to try to put together the agenda, so I didn't know then, and I didn't. So when does it expire? May?
May 26th.
It's nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you too.
Your first meeting, or were you at the last?
Oh, no, first meeting.
Today, yeah. Well, I didn't make the last meeting.
Oh, those old legs,
I guess.
that long.
My little brief thing.
But it went faster than I thought it might.
Well, we got lots and lots done.
Lots for this one.
Construction stuff.
Thank you. Have a good.
Thank you so
It
much.
was, the whole 2.5 hours tonight was all construction.